Welcome to Show-Off Showdown! In this series, the fighters are called Show-Offs, and this is the series for the Show-Off Showdown! Now let's meet the Show-Offs for tonight's Showdown, shall we? Tonight, we have a battle between two deadly female ninjas. That's right, Stealth Elf VS Kitana! I'll say this much, only one of these ninjas are going to walk away from this battle in one piece. I put a link to the analysis on both characters in the description below. Now without further ado, it's time for the Show-Off 2 Showdown! Fight! Round 2. Fight! Round 3. Fight! Whoa! Okay, I'm not so sure if Skylanders is really a kid's game anymore. I mean, I swear, I have never, and I mean never, seen a kid's game character do that before. That was just brutal. Yet epic. Now in all seriousness, let's discuss how and why Stealth Elf wins this deadly epic showdown. Now, I have done a lot of research and analysis on this fight, so there was a lot, and I mean a lot of information to cover. So I will try to explain as many details as I possibly can, and I will do so one step at a time. Now, you may want to get yourself a snack, because this is going to be a very long explanation. Okay? Here we go.
First up, let's discuss who is more skilled or who has more fighting experience. Now, as we all know, Kitana is a very skilled and deadly ninja warrior who's been around for over 10,000 years. So she definitely has a lot of combat experience. Now, how skilled and experienced is Stealth Elf, you ask? Well, just like Kitana, Stealth Elf is a highly trained ninja who is very skilled and deadly to her enemies. Now, believe it or not, the Skylanders have been around for over 10,000 years. I can prove it by showing you this screenshot from the beginning of the first level in Skylanders Giants. Now, Kitana and Stealth Elf both have fighting moves and attacks that revolve around slashing and cutting their foes to pieces with deadly razor-sharp blades, and delivering fast, devastating kicks. With all that gathered up, I think it's safe to say that when it comes to fighting skill and experience, Kitana and Stealth Elf are pretty much equal. Literally, these two ninjas are neck and neck. Now that we've covered how skilled and experienced they are, let's discuss some other categories, shall we? Now, when it comes to their basic choice of weapons, I think Kitana may have a slight advantage. Kitana's basic weaponry are her fans, which are made of metal and are very sharp, while Stealth Elf's basic weapons, or starter weapons, are her daggers, which are made from dragon fangs, which is technically just bone. While Stealth Elf's daggers are also very sharp, I think it's safe to say that Kitana's fans could cut through Stealth Elf's daggers as easily as they cut through bones. Now, Kitana may have superior basic weaponry, but there's kind of a downside to that. You see, Kitana uses those fans a lot to the point where they're the strongest things in her arsenal. Now let's just say that Kitana may have a bigger arse, but Stealth Elf has a bigger arsenal. Okay, I admit it, that was uncalled for. Now, in other words, Stealth Elf has more weapons in her arsenal than just her normal daggers. She also has her Elven Sunblades, which are basically upgraded daggers that have double-sided blades and do even more damage. She also has her Golden Ninja Blades that look kind of like the Bat'leth from Star Trek. I think those would definitely be able to match Kitana's fins. And you know what they say? Never bring a knife to a gunfight. In other words, Stealth Elf has a machine gun that shoots daggers. That's right, you heard me. But of course, Kitana is capable of blocking projectiles, so that shouldn't be a big problem for her. But while Kitana's fans are the strongest thing in her arsenal, the most powerful weapon in Stealth Elf's clearly wider arsenal is her vehicle called the Stealth Stinger, which is a magical helicopter that was designed specifically for Stealth Elf to pilot. It can also turn invisible, and it runs on the power of 10 jillion thunderbolts. Now you're probably thinking that jillion isn't even a real number. Well, in real life it isn't, but apparently in the Skylanders universe it is a real number. Either way, it's hard not to assume that's a lot of power. This gives Stealth Elf quite an advantage, not just because it's, well, a helicopter, but also because when Stealth Elf pilots her vehicle, she becomes supercharged, which boosts all of her powers even further, and both her and her vehicle will become even stronger and more powerful. Now, despite being human, Kitana is actually very tough. She's strong enough to shatter human bones with her bare hands, feet, knees, elbows, head, and almost any other part of her body. But even more impressively, she's strong enough to karate chop a steel anvil in half, which takes about 90,000 pounds or 45 tons of force. Now, you're probably thinking that the anvil breaking thing is just a mini-game, and any Mortal Kombat character can do it, which makes that non-canon feat. But I'm going to discuss that later. Now, you'd think that's enough force to bring Stealth Elf down, but surprisingly it's not. Now, Stealth Elf may look skinnier than Kitana, but you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Stealth Elf is actually incredibly durable. Believe it or not, Stealth Elf's tough elven body is durable enough to casually be struck by razor-sharp blades, bullets, bombs, missiles, fireballs, molten lava, poisons, laser beams, magic attacks, etc. She can also survive falls from great heights and recover from them almost instantly. Heck, she can even survive getting crushed by a giant robot. If Stealth Elf is durable enough to survive all of that, I think it's safe to say that a couple of fans should be no problem for her at all. Now, don't get the wrong idea, Stealth Elf is not invincible. There is a limit to how much damage she can take. After all, like most common game characters, she has a health bar, doesn't she? But luckily, Stealth Elf has a lot of health, and she has a great amount of natural armor and defense, which can help her withstand attacks and reduce the damage she takes. So it's gonna take a lot, and I mean a lot of force to take her down. Oh, let's not forget that Stealth Elf has a healing factor. Now, Stealth Elf's healing factor is not as strong as, say, Wolverine's, but it is still perfect for healing wounds and regenerating health over time. Now, it's possible that maybe Kitana's X-ray moves might be strong enough to slightly bend Stealth Elf's bones and joints, but not enough force to actually break them apart. Now, Kitana is still pretty strong, and her fans are still pretty sharp, so Kitana is gonna have to put in a lot of strength and effort in order for her fans to penetrate Stealth Elf's incredibly tough elven skin. But an even bigger problem for Kitana is trying to land enough good hits on Stealth Elf because of how fast she is. Which leads me to speed. Now, this is no contest. Stealth Elf easily triumphs in speed. Stealth Elf is one of the fastest, if not the fastest of all Skylanders. Stealth Elf is fast enough to dodge most, if not all, of Kitana's attacks. Because of Stealth Elf's lightning-fast ninja reflexes, not even Kitana's cheap, sneaky moves like teleporting behind her opponent and attacking them from behind would be able to work on Stealth Elf. Although Stealth Elf's mid-air acrobatic moves might leave her exposed to Kitana's pretty kicks, which can theoretically knock Stealth Elf out of mid-air, giving Kitana the opportunity to levitate Stealth Elf in a tornado and start landing some combos on her. So Kitana may be able to occasionally land a good hit on Stealth Elf, but most of the time, Stealth Elf is just too fast to hit. Also, Stealth Elf can turn invisible and set a decoy of herself running in another direction to fool her opponents so she can ambush them. Because this battle had no prep time, this was something that Kitana was completely unaware of, and she definitely didn't see it coming. Now, because these two ninjas are equally skilled and experienced, Kitana may be able to block some of Stealth Elf's attacks, but once Stealth Elf catches her by surprise, Kitana is gonna get hurt, and she's gonna get hurt bad. Now let's discuss their feats, shall we? Now, Kitana has fought a lot of very tough fighters in the Mortal Kombat series, but Stealth Elf has also fought a lot of very strong, powerful opponents in the Skylanders series as well. A lot of the characters in Mortal Kombat are very tough and hard to beat, and Kitana was able to handle and even beat most of them. But Stealth Elf has taken on much bigger, stronger, and more powerful foes than Kitana has. Stealth Elf has defeated several other Skylanders to be legendary, and she has even fought massively powerful enemies that are like the size of Godzilla, such as the Archean Robot Empire of Skylander Giants and the Titans from Superchargers, for examples. Stealth Elf has even defeated some of the most powerful and dangerous villains in all of Skylands, including Chaos, Chaos's Mother, the Doom Raiders, the Darkness, and more. Besides, like the prelude I've written for this battle earlier stated, Kitana has lost her fair share of fights against just about every single fighter on the block in Mortal Kombat, which, believe it or not, Stealth Elf usually wins against almost every opponent she fights in the Skylander series. Now, some people are probably thinking Kitana should have won because Kitana has fought gods and Stealth Elf hasn't. Well, that's not entirely true, and I will explain why. First off, these so-called gods in Mortal Kombat series are not as godlike as you think. Remember, none of the characters in Mortal Kombat are exactly immortal. Or in other words, everyone in the Mortal Kombat series can die physically, hence the name Mortal Kombat. In a way, the gods in Mortal Kombat are kind of like the gods from God of War, sort of. These gods are more like demigods. They may possess godlike powers and abilities, but none of these gods are omnipotent, and they are all technically mortal. They can bleed, get injured, and even physically die by having their bodies destroyed. Now, Raiden is one of the most well-known gods in Mortal Kombat, but even Raiden is actually a lot easier to kill physically than you think. And to prove it, I will give you a link to a montage of Raiden's deaths in Mortal Kombat X right here. Feel free to watch it if you want. I highly doubt you'll watch the whole thing since it's a 21-minute video, but you get the point. Anyway, some of you are probably thinking about the time when Kitana fought and defeated Shao Kahn in Mortal Kombat 9. Well, yes, that is a pretty intense feat. After all, Shao Kahn has proven to be one of the strongest, if not the strongest being in the Mortal Kombat universe. But believe it or not, Shao Kahn isn't really that much of a god if you think about it, and he isn't exactly immortal either, technically. He needs to constantly consume souls in order to increase both his power and his lifespan, plus his physical body can too be destroyed with enough force. In fact, Shao Kahn has actually died many, many times in the Mortal Kombat series. Now, you're probably thinking that Shao Kahn is still much stronger stronger and more powerful foe than anything that Stealth Elf has faced in the Skylanders universe, right? Wrong. Believe it or not, just like Kitana, Stealth Elf has 2 fought godlike beings. In fact, the foes that Stealth Elf has faced might actually be even closer to actual gods than the gods in Mortal Kombat. Here, allow me to explain. For example, in Skylanders Trap Team, the notorious villain known as Chaos harnessed the power of magical crystals known as Traptanium. Traptanium is said to be the most powerful source of magic in all of Skylands, and it has been clearly stated multiple times in Skylanders Trap Team that Traptanium has limitless power. So when Chaos absorbed the power of Traptanium, he became Traptanium Chaos, and he pretty much gained potentially limitless and godlike power.
Traptanium has limitless power. We must stop Chaos before he can charge himself up even further. Otherwise, he will be nigh unstoppable.
Traptanium Chaos is extremely hard and even almost impossible to beat, especially if you're playing on Nightmare difficulty during the boss battle in Skylanders Trap Team. But after a long and extremely hard epic battle, Stealth Elf is able to eventually defeat Traptanium Chaos and save Skylands once again. But that's not all. One of the toughest and most dangerously powerful threats that Stealth Elf and the Skylanders have ever faced was none other than the Darkness. The Darkness is a godlike entity of pure evil. Not only can the Darkness literally eat the sky, but he also has the power to consume and destroy every world in the entire universe. Basically, the Darkness is like the Skylanders version of Galactus. Don't believe me? Then just watch this clip.
That's why we're supercharged with love. You got to
You didn't really think this was over, did you? You can't defeat me, fools! Skyland is doomed, and the universe is mine. All shall fear and obey me. I am the Darkness!
Quickly, Portal Master! The Darkness is free! You must find a way to destroy it before it can escape and threaten every world in the universe! Everything that you have learned on your journey has prepared you for this moment. The malevolent reign of the Darkness must come to an end, or we are all lost! Your greatest battle awaits you, Portal Master!
So yeah, but before the Darkness could destroy all of Skylands and then attempt to rule every world in the universe, Stealth Elf piloted a supercharged vehicle and used it to bring down and destroy the Darkness once and for all. Oh, but let's not forget about the most recent and possibly most powerful form of Chaos that Stealth Elf and the Skylanders have ever had to face, also known as Super Chaos. Now yes, I know that he looks just like a Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, but that's not what I'm talking about. Super Chaos is Chaos's latest and possibly most powerful form yet from Skylanders Imaginators. This form of Chaos is powered by Imaginite, aka Mind Magic, which is a type of magic unlike any other that was used by the Ancients, who are basically the gods who created Skylands. That's right, unlike the gods from Mortal Kombat, the Ancients from Skylanders are literal gods. Or at least they are closer to actual gods than the gods in Mortal Kombat. Anyways, the Ancients used the power of Mind Magic to create all of Skylands and the entire Skylanders universe.
I just happen to be the smartest, most powerful brain in the known universe.
Now, in the game Skylanders Imaginators, Chaos was actually teamed up with one of these Ancients, and that's how Chaos was able to achieve this godly form. With the help of one of the Ancients, Chaos was able to not only create his own evil Skylanders called Doomlanders and make them even more powerful, but also harness the full power of Mind Magic, and he essentially became a god. But despite Super Chaos being as powerful as a god, and having a powerful army of Doomlanders, Stealth Elf was still able to take out his army and defeat Chaos once again, eventually. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, which brings me to game logic. It's time to discuss the logic in both the Skylanders and Mortal Kombat video games. Now, some of you are probably thinking that you can use any Skylander to fight the godlike villains I mentioned earlier. Well, if that's what you're thinking, then, well, I guess you're right. But believe it or not, this kind of character logic is no different from Mortal Kombat's character logic, and I will explain how and why these two kinds of character logic in both video games are not so different from each other. Now, of course, all Skylanders are great legendary heroes, which includes Stealth Elf. Well, let me put it to you this way. If all of the other Skylanders can fight these godlike foes, then Stealth Elf can do it too. And in fact, because Stealth Elf is a member of Eon's Elite, the strongest of all Skylanders, she can most likely do it better than most of the other Skylanders can. Here's an example. If any of you have the game Skylanders Trap Team, then try fighting Traptanium Chaos in the boss battle on the last level in the game on Nightmare difficulty, and while you're doing that, first try using any regular Skylander you have, and after the Skylander you use gets quickly defeated by Chaos, try using Eon's Elite Stealth Elf, assuming you own her figure, and then you will see how much easier it is to fight and eventually defeat Chaos with an Elite Skylander like Stealth Elf than it is with any regular Skylander. Anyway, yes, it's true that you can use any Skylander to fight villains such as Chaos and the Darkness, but once again, if every other Skylander can fight them, Stealth Elf can do it too. And believe it or not, this exact same kind of character logic applies to the Mortal Kombat games. You see, in Skylanders, you can choose from a selection of figures on your shelf, and once you've chosen a Skylander, you can play as that character in the game. And in Mortal Kombat, you can choose from a selection of fighters on a character selection screen, and once you've chosen a fighter, you can play as that character in the game. You can choose from any character in the Mortal Kombat games and use them to fight other characters in the game. In Mortal Kombat, anyone can fight anyone. And believe it or not, you can do that exact same thing in the Skylanders PvP battle mode, in Spyro's Adventure, Giants, and SWAT Force. In both Mortal Kombat and Skylanders PvP battle mode, two players can choose a character from a selection of many different characters with different powers and abilities, and then they play as those characters and use them to fight each other in a one-on-one match until one of the player's characters beats the other. And just like how you can use any Skylander to fight and defeat villains such as Chaos and the Darkness, you can also use any Mortal Kombat character to fight and kill Mortal Kombat villains such as Shao Kahn. Now yes, I'm aware that there was technically a bit of a plot and personal fight between Kitana and Shao Kahn in Mortal Kombat 9, but in the Mortal Kombat series itself, you can actually use any character in the Mortal Kombat series to fight and kill Shao Kahn. And to prove it, I will give you a link to another montage of fatalities, but this time it's Shao Kahn being killed by every character in the Mortal Kombat series. See for yourself. Now this proves that just like how you can use any Skylander to defeat villains such as Chaos and the Darkness, you can also use any fighter in Mortal Kombat to kill Shao Kahn. So if you think about it, the Skylanders in Mortal Kombat games aren't really that different from each other. Sure, one of them is rated E and the other one's rated M, and one of them has a lot more blood, gore, and realistic violence, while the other has a lot more of a fantasy and adventure aspect to it. But when it comes to choosing from different characters and using them to fight other characters, enemies, final bosses, and other stuff like that, these two games both have the exact same kind of logic. Not to mention, like I said earlier, you can also use any character in Mortal Kombat to karate chop a steel anvil in half. So if we're applying that logic of being able to kill Shao Kahn using any character as a feat for Kitana in this matchup, then why not count the anvil break as a feat for her as well? But of course, even if we do include the anvil break feat for Kitana, it's still not enough for us to fully take down Stealth Elf, and I've already explained why. If you've forgotten why, then you can always go back if you want to. Hey, I just thought of something else. Now, I'm not sure if this counts as a factor for this battle or not, but even if it doesn't, it's still interesting to know anyway. Stealth Elf is an elf. Why am I telling you this? Because, according to mythology, elves are known to be one of the wisest of all creatures. In fact, here's a descriptive definition on elves that I found that might explain better than I could. An elf is a mythical creature of German mythology/paganism, which still survives in Northern European folklore. In Norse mythology, they were originally a race of minor gods of nature and fertility. Elves are often pictured as youthful-seeming men and women of great beauty living in forests and other natural places, underground, or in wells and springs. They have been portrayed to be long-lived or immortal, and they have magical powers attributed to them. Following the success of J.R.R. Tolkien's epic work, The Lord of the Rings, wherein a wise, angelic people named elves play a significant role, they have become staple characters of modern fantasy. Now, I don't know about you, but those qualities and characteristics stated in that definition sound a lot like Stealth Elf to me. Now, if you watch movies like The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, you'll know that elves are capable of doing some pretty crazy things. Plus, elves are superior to men in almost every way. Also, elves are technically immortal, and by that I mean they're timeless. They can live for centuries without aging because they have an infinite lifespan, and they never age. How do you think Stealth Elf was able to live for over 10,000 years without aging even one bit? Exactly. Now, of course, elves can live forever, but they can be killed physically. But of course, Stealth Elf is no ordinary elf, and it's going to take a lot of force to take her down. Now, Kitana may have enough strength and force to potentially hurt Stealth Elf, but sadly, she just doesn't have enough to actually kill her. Now, as I stated before, Stealth Elf is a member of Eon's Elite, which means she is one of the strongest and most powerful of all Skylanders. In fact, you won't believe me when I say this, but Stealth Elf is actually stronger than Spyro the Dragon.
What a load of bullshit.
See, I told you you wouldn't believe me. Believe it or not, Stealth Elf technically is stronger than Spyro, and I can prove it. Now, you're probably wondering, how strong does this make Stealth Elf? Well, first, let's take a look at Spyro's physical strength, shall we? Okay, so Spyro has the strength to sprint charge with enough force to break through 10 meters of solid granite, which is the equivalent of about 8,000 tons of force. And believe it or not, that's just the classic Spyro, who is technically the weakest incarnation of Spyro. As Spyro has evolved, he has kept getting stronger within every game he's in. His latest and strongest form, known as Eon's Elite Spyro, is at least 3 times stronger than every previous form and incarnation of himself. Now, if we lowball Spyro's strength to an exact minimum, this means Spyro has the striking strength to charge with, at the very least, 24,000 tons of force. Heck, he could probably do even more damage than that, especially since he's now even stronger than the Giants, who have the strength to lift and hold whole entire islands. So how strong does this make Stealth Elf? Well, let's take a look at their stats, shall we? As you can tell, Spyro and Stealth Elf stats are measured on a scale of 1 to 500, so after counting fractions and turning them into percentages, this is how much Stealth Elf has compared to Spyro. Stealth Elf has about 20% more strength and power than Spyro, she has 22% more armor and defense than Spyro, but she has only 2% less luck than Spyro, but that's not a major disadvantage for her at all. So as you can tell, Stealth Elf has most of the advantages over Spyro. In fact, she's actually capable of beating Spyro in a one-on-one arena battle. And to prove it, here's a link to a video of a one-on-one arena battle between Spyro and Stealth Elf in their strongest forms. Now, on another note, according to the stats, Stealth Elf's speed and agility is actually equal to Spyro's, but in a way, Stealth Elf might actually be faster than Spyro. Believe it or not, Stealth Elf once beat Spyro in a race. In fact, I'll even show you that footage right now to prove it.
Alright, Stealth Elf, let's do this! This time, try to keep up.
Don't get too confident, Spyro. I've got a new strategy this time.
On your mark! Get set! Oh, yeah!
Holy smokes, not my sandwiches! Ah! Easy there. Daddy's got you.
Come on, Stealth Elf! You can't win if you don't try.
Who says I didn't try?
Did you see that? Stealth Elf was so fast that Spyro didn't even see her cross the finish line. Probably because he was distracted by Stealth Elf's decoy, but still, that's pretty fast. Oh, and one last thing. Let's talk about animal transformation, shall we? Both ninjas have the ability to transform into animals. Kitana can shapeshift into a rabbit, and Stealth Elf can shapeshift into a tiger. Tell me, who do you think would win between a rabbit and a tiger? Exactly. This is no contest. Even if it was a killer bunny like the one from Monty Python, the tiger would still rip the bunny to shreds. Case closed. Okay, I think I've said enough already. Overall, Stealth Elf and Kitana are equally skilled and experienced, but I think it's safe to say that Stealth Elf is clearly physically superior to Kitana in every way. She has greater feats, and has fought much stronger and more powerful foes than Kitana has, and she has the advantages against Kitana in almost every category, including strength, speed, agility, durability, stamina, power, arsenal, and even animal transformation. I think I've said enough.
So I guess Stealth Elf just wasn't a very big fan of Kitana. The winner of this battle is Stealth Elf. By the way, if you're a Mortal Kombat fan who wants to see Kitana win, then here's a link to an alternate ending. Then hopefully, everyone will be happy.
Got any ideas for Show-Off Showdown? Then let me know in the comments below, and hopefully, I just might do them. Now stay tuned for the next episode of Show-Off Showdown!